All right, guys, welcome back to the One Percenters podcast. After international break, or during the international break, we've had some time to recover from a mad game week with some crazy results. And how did you guys get on? Hammer, how's the game week? Did you need some time to recover?
I think I need time to recover from all 4 game weeks. It's been a weird start. I think I was below the average this week, but I'm going to lay that mainly on James Rodriguez. So I
Yeah,
brought him in this week, and then we'll see if he can help me go over average again.
fair enough, man. Kazim?
Yeah, once again, I beat the average barely this week, but I'm not getting those big holes that like I'm seeing on the screen right now, these Hamid Rodriguez, these Mo Salahs. Like my team is just getting those like sevens, those sixes. It was eights maybe, but not breaking those double digits, which it's a good thing, I guess, for the long term, maybe because my team's more balanced, but I need a superstar. And
It
I'll
hurts, man,
talk more about
honestly.
who that is going
Yeah.
forward.
I got, to be fair, this is my team. I got lucky with Salah and Hammers both bringing in big holes. Defensively, it was a shambles. I think it was Trent got -1. I know someone who captained Trent, and in case anyone doesn't know, that your negatives get doubled as well. But McCarthy came through with some points as well. My Wolves triple up rather, will cover later on. But captaincy wise, man, City are disappointing again in a game where you expected them to sort of be attackingly exciting and all the rest of it. They didn't really live up to it. I mean, it was an exciting game, but they just couldn't put their chances away or created half chances. I don't know what was it like.
It's, I think, as we mentioned this last week, right? With City, defensively, they've always been bad. And going forward, they'll have games where they just get killed on the counter. But when Aguero or Jesus plays, they have that focal point and then they rotate around him. So you have the two wingers always running through. And KDB, when he started the season, everyone said, well, he's playing right behind the striker. They're playing with Fernandinho and Rodri right behind him. So he has more space. He can move around.
He has
They
the
conceded a
license to
couple
attack.
goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they conceded a couple goals. Fernandinho gets taken off. KDB gets pushed back. And all of a sudden, the attack's gone. Right? So we'll see what Pep's thinking. Like, he might be thinking he wants to concede less and start winning games slowly. But at the moment, they're not looking like a team that's going to go out and score 6 goals every game. At least not yet.
This is unfortunate, to be honest.
Yeah, I still think KDB is gonna come through. It's just
He
a
just
matter
has
of
to, man. He has to, I swear.
like he's what 11.5 or 11.6.
Yeah.
It's just you could invest that money so much better elsewhere. And if
Yeah.
you're one of those owners who did hold out on changing your whole team just to fit him in, then I guess you're lucky. And this may be a good time to get him now that he's eventually gonna hit that form. So I still think he's, I don't know, a good pick. Maybe not a double up on City coverage, but he's still the one to have if you're getting someone from City.
Yeah, true. And also, like, if you look at it, like, if you were to drop someone like De Bruyne, you could potentially get in, like, if I on my team, for example, De Bruyne and Podence could be replaced easily by like Grealish and someone like Pulisic, like two premium type midfielders you could get in there. So, but it's one of those where if KDB goes off, then you're in trouble
Yeah,
either
but
way.
it depends on your formation, right? So if you're playing 3 strikers, then you'll always have that fifth mid that's 4.5. So if you end up taking KDB out and adding a Grealish, then every week you're sitting there thinking, who do I bench?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which striker do I bench? And then if the striker kills it,
Yeah, but I'm saying honestly, COVID times, like look, like with Mane testing positive, like on the Friday, it's not a bad option to have like someone who will bring you more than a 2-pointer, like a Bissouma, for example, coming through clutch.
Lucky Bissouma.
Shout out to the Prince of Mali coming through for Kazim. Like,
yeah,
it's good to have options, I guess.
We're like, I know we had discussed this earlier in the earlier podcasts, but it is looking like it is going to be an issue with this whole like COVID 19 players testing positive and having to quarantine. I mean, my team once again doesn't have Salah. I don't know why. I still don't have him, but I always feel like there's other areas I need to improve. And I've had Mane, and he was catching up until last week when he got COVID. So once again, he's going to be back next week. So I'm like, I kept him for that last week. Might as well give him one more week, and it's probably going to cost me again. But yeah,
Basuma will do the business.
Basuma, I'm hoping, or Brewster. I've been
Oh,
hyping him up for the last 5 weeks.
That's a shot.
Hopefully he gets a chance. I don't know if he's going to start though, but
yeah, he should do. I mean, you can't do a massive photo shoot for a player and all this signing drama and then just not. He shouldn't.
Yeah, no, he definitely will start long term. It's just the first game, like I just always skeptical how they're gonna play it.
They have Fulham at home.
Yeah, and that would be the dream fixture actually.
Actually, I was toying around with the idea, then I saw that they have Fulham next, and I was like, okay, it might not be a bad shout actually. But I'm trying to hold out for 2 transfers. And but yeah, moving sort of to last week, we saw Villa score 7 past Liverpool. It still feels sort of unimaginable to speak of. So we'll discuss that, and then deadline day as well, which was during the break, how Wolves are getting on Spurs, and then we'll look at our regular captaincy and dodgy differentials. But to start with Villa, talk to me about Jack Grealish, like really stepping up and really showing his value to Villa. Is he one of those that now that they've put better players around him, he's performing to a different level, whereas they were previously fully relying on what he would do? Hammer.
So let's not get carried away. He did score 8 goals last year, picked up 7 assists, I think. And if you remove the Liverpool game, he scored 1 goal in his first 2 games against Fulham. And we all know Fulham's defense is porous. So I wouldn't get carried away yet with Villa, especially if you look at the 7 goals they scored. I think 4 of them were just deflections, right? They just hit the defender and went the other way, right? So I wouldn't get too carried away yet. I think Grealish is good, and the formation they play is solid.
Yeah.
With Grealish playing right next to Ollie Watkins, so he plays sort of like the center forward, and they play a counter-attacking game, so he's always the guy running in behind the defense. So from a midfield perspective, a midfielder in FPL playing sort of like a forward in real life,
like a Son,
it's
basically.
nice to have him, like a Son, yeah. So it's nice to have him at his price, but would you have him in front of a 6 million striker, right? Like an Ollie Watkins is 5.9. Would you rather have the Ollie Watkins over Jack Grealish, right?
I don't know. For me, it's always that, like in a budget team, I'd rather have the striker. And unless the midfield option is so appealing that like you just can't ignore it, I'd rather just like they're going to score 1 goal, 2 goals, maybe most week. The striker is probably going to score that. I don't know, Kazim, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's the thing with Grealish, he is in sort of like a weird price range where there's not many options at the 7 million mark. So I was just looking at it now. You got Harvey Barnes, which he's actually at like I still rate him as an asset just because the amount of shots he gets on net. But yeah, like he is a priced asset where you don't really have many options in that range. So it could be like worth going for him. But my pick from Villa actually would be more on Ross Barkley. I was actually like, I don't think that Villa has had penalties this year, but I know he will from his Chelsea days. And even, I think even during Everton, he took a lot of penalties and he would demand the ball. And with a penalty taker, I think you want someone who wants it. Nice. So I think that would be another good pick. And I believe he's at like 5'7" or something, 5'8".
He's cheaper than Grealish by like a million and a bit. So you would save money. But saying that, if you're looking Barkley, then up until he got injured, John McGinn last season was one of their best players, outperforming and outscoring Grealish as well. Came back to the back end of last season, I think, but he didn't hit the heights. But I think he's been back on it, and sort of at 5.5, he's another one in that sort of mix where you could have him as your 5th midfielder. Because again, like a striker, you'll put him in as your third striker and sort of have the belief that, listen, he might score any odd week. But with a midfielder, you're really looking for him to be like, it's quite fixture sensitive with someone like that. Like if they're playing City, for example, or if they're playing like a closed up Arsenal side, you'd worry then.
So I want to drive some caution here. It's still Villa. I know they scored 7 goals on Liverpool, but let's not look at the whole team and say, well, everyone's a gem.
Yeah, yeah, okay, fair enough, fair enough.
The problem with McGinn, just sort of like from a formation perspective, is their top three is Trezeguet, Watkins, and Grealish. Then Barkley now plays right behind them where McGinn used to play. So McGinn sort of moves right behind Barkley on the right.
Okay.
Right. So he's a good option because he runs up a lot. But now he has 4 guys ahead of him demanding the ball before him. Right.
And
so
demanding the points
reduces,
as well, yeah.
yeah. So it reduces his value. I don't know how many points the Villa boys will get, but I wouldn't recommend going double up on Villa.
Yeah. So would any of you think about a Villa player, basically? Let's put it that way. Are you thinking about them back of your mind? Maybe not this week, maybe in a few weeks, or
Yeah, well, for me, it's Watkins at 5.9, cheaper than a lot of the other options. If Grealish and Barkley and everyone clicks, then I think Watkins will benefit from that.
Yeah, fair enough, fair enough. That's a good shot. I've got Mitrovic at 5.9, so it'd be a straight swap, but it's between him and Brewster for me, to be honest. Maybe not this week, maybe the week after. Kazim, any interest in Villa or not particularly?
I mean, depends. Like for me right now, no, just because of the way my team's structured. Like I've held Brewster for like 5 weeks,
fair enough.
So I'm gonna give him this next couple of weeks, and then my striker too. I'm not gonna really mess around with that. The midfield's a bit where I would go. But right now, I potentially, when I do sell Fernandez, which I still have in my team right now, I would be looking for like a 5.5 low 6 midfielder. So those could come in under my radar. Just I need to wait maybe a couple more games to see how.
Yeah, and then you debate him against like the Trossards and all the rest of them. So there's a lot to think about.
Exactly. Yeah.
Was there any? Well, we're not going to get overexcited by Villa. Should we get over worried about the Liverpool defense? Should we think about offloading people like Trent and Robertson? For me, personally, it's an easy answer. No, I'm not going to be getting rid of Trent, or I have Trent. I wish I had Robertson, but I'm not going to be getting rid of him anytime soon because we don't. Like they are the best team in the league. They were the best team in the league, and they'll show that eventually. Just a blip, massive blip, but I wouldn't worry too much.
Yeah, I think it's like, okay, so with the, I guess more, especially with Trent and Robertson, with them, it was always like you knew they were going to get attacking points, and if they got a clean sheet, that was sort of the bonus, but you were really bringing them in for their attacking threat.
Yeah.
Now, pretty much, I mean, their bonus, I mean, their clean sheets are like very unlikely. So you're really hoping that they do get some attacking returns, at least for the next 6 weeks. So I still think they're going to be in the mix for getting attacking returns. It's just a matter of, do you want to have both of them and risk that? Because now I think the likelihood of both of them sort of getting those returns, or even Van Dijk, all three of them, is sort of risky. So if you do have one, I would keep them. If you have two, then I would consider offloading one and sort of investing that maybe in your mid or forward line. Just due to the fact that you're really banking on them attacking versus clean sheets.
I'm gonna take what Kazim said and just twist it slightly. So if you want someone from Spurs, and then most people will be looking at Kane, the only way to afford Kane, if you have like a Jimenez right now, is to get rid of Trent or Robertson and go 2 million cheaper and get Kane instead. That's the only way, right? So if you think Kane will get more attacking returns than those defenders, and a defender from Villa or Sheffield or Wolves will get you the clean sheets you need, then you'll be fine with that. But the way the season's going, everyone seems to be scoring goals. And you know Liverpool will end up scoring most probably the most goals of any team in the league. So you know Trent and Robertson will get 10, 15 assists, right? From defense at that value, they're worth keeping.
Yeah, true. I mean, in essence, you have to think about them as midfielders, and I would think they'll outscore people like potentially Barkley, Grealish, these sort of mid-range team midfielders, outscored by a defender, is like still represents good value. For me, I'll stick with the one I have, and probably he's a set and forget for me, Trent. Unless something drastic will happen, I would set and forget. What about you guys?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
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 I have Robertson, so I'm keeping.
Yeah,
Robertson.
you're loving life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that extra 0.5 and just making a ring.
Trust me, man. Honestly, it hurts, man. And also on clean sheets, fun fact that we discussed before the show: out of the 76 possible clean sheets this season, there's only been 17. So that's rare. Coupled with it's been the highest goals per game ratio of any season. So it's been high scoring. I think it's that whole pressure around sort of strikers feel less pressure because there's maybe no crowd. Defenders don't feel the pressure to not make a mistake as well. So I think it's leading to a goal fest, to be honest.
So that's 17 games with a clean sheet or 17 clean sheets?
17 clean sheets because there's been 4 weeks, so that's 80 games minus that's 40 games times 2. That's 80 minus the 4 we missed in the first week. So 76 potential clean sheets.
Yeah.
And only 17. So yeah, it's crazy. There's been no nil-nils, I don't think. I don't know if there has been, but I don't think there has been at all.
Yeah. I think again we're looking at first 4 weeks. You know,
True.
everyone's sort of playing after the lockdown. Is trying to score as many goals as possible. No one cares that much about defending. At some point, teams will start realizing they need to defend to stay in the Premier League, and then you're gonna start seeing some 0-0s.
Yeah, when your life depends on it, it's true.
Yeah, that's when you come back to the Sean Dykes, Burnley, and the Sheffield Uniteds. And
I'm waiting for Sean Dykes, Burnley to turn up, man. Honestly.
Yeah, I think sooner or later they will. They have a good track record of defending. It's like a Tony Pulis side. They will sooner or later start defending.
They're missing, right? I think Tarkowski's back. It's just Ben Me, right? I think that's that they're missing.
I think he hasn't played yet, right? Tarkowski. This will be his first game.
He has. Or maybe he came on as a sub, but he's played some.
Yeah.
I think.
So once he's back, then once Ben Me comes back, I think they'll be good.
They need their structure. They got Nick Pope, who's solid as well, and goal, so they should be good. It was, I think, this time last week was deadline day. United finally signed a player.
Not the player we wanted.
Not the player wanted. You know, someone said this somewhere that Cavani is a cherry on top of a good transfer window. He can't be the whole like cake. It's just not acceptable. He can be like an addition, like a Larson, like a Zlatan, like adds to an already good transfer window. But he can't be what you're going to sort of pitch as your marquee signing and then to give him the number 7. At least if you don't give him the number 7, you make the fans believe that you're holding the number 7 for Sancho next season or in January, something like that. Just a shambles, absolute shambles. I don't know if I was annoyed about this last time on, but it's almost as if this is the first time they're doing a transfer window. It's not like they've been doing this 100 years. Like, there's no words. There's actually no words.
I think you'll need a podcast, just a separate podcast, just to discuss the failures of Manchester United and their board.
Let's just leave it. Let's just.
But do you guys really feel like Sancho is what you needed? Like it was just a force in my opinion. Like he's a good player, but like
he's a hype. Fair enough. But no one spent 9 figures on a player this year. No one spent over 100 mil. And if United weren't going to do that, then don't do that. But sign other players then in the places that you need. If you finish third and there's such a big gap to first and second, you bridge that gap. That's your job.
That's what they said, right? So United wanted Upamecano and Nathan Ake, right? As soon as City found out that United also want Ake, they went in, swooped, and took him. So United should have said, well, we need another center back. Let's get someone. They didn't sign anyone. Right? So then the whole season was about Sancho. When they wanted the defenders, but I guess they realized they're not getting anyone. So they decided to hype up Sancho. And that was their way of sort of driving the fans. right? Like get those Twitter updates and the news articles, and then at the end you don't sign anyone.
Shambles, absolute
Right.
shambles.
But
Sorry,
yeah,
carry on.
coming back to Cavani,
Yeah.
he's not playing this week,
Okay.
right? So we'll see him against PSG. My suggestion on Cavani: wait for that PSG game.
Yeah.
See if he actually ends up playing well.
Is he gonna whose spot is he gonna take?
That's the thing. I don't even know, man.
Like Greenwood, I guess.
So if Martial is not playing, right, it's in the Premier League, I guess for 3 games, then Cavani
Of
takes
course.
his spot, right? In the PSG game, I'm assuming Cavani will start on the bench, right? What I've always said, and I come back to Liverpool on this, is playing the 2 forwards, so sort of like a Salah and Mane. You have the Martial and Rashford, or Greenwood and Rashford, or someone, and you have Bruno next to them, right?
Yeah.
Sort of like the Firmino connecting the play, right? Because we know defensively they suck. So, get some better midfielders in, get 3 solid engines in, get Van der Beek, Matic, and McTominay or someone. So those forwards can play freely instead of having to worry about defense. So in that sense, if he ends up worrying about the defense, instantly all 3 forwards plus Cavani, their value falls. The only person whose value goes up is Bruno.
Yeah, true.
Right? Because if he gets pushed forward even further forward, his value is going up.
True, very true. Who do you think, shambles of United season, who do you think did the best business in the transfer window? I would say sort of fill in their gaps. I'd say Chelsea. I'm going to jump ahead of the gun for Kazim. I think it was Chelsea. And they sort of addressed the issues they had and plus a few more. And they look like an impressive outfit, to be honest. Closely followed by maybe Spurs. Hammer?
It's between, for me, it's not Chelsea, only because yes, they signed a lot of players. It just hasn't clicked yet. So in terms of money spent and players bought, yeah, they went out and did their job. But I think in terms of need and best signings, I have to look at one of Spurs or Liverpool. And I look at Liverpool and think with Diogo Jota and Thiago, their midfield set. They have the extra option up front. Their defense has always been good, right? So once they start clicking again, they'll be very difficult to beat. You can't overlook Spurs with Gareth Bale. That top 3 with Kane, Son, and Bale. Everyone wants that top 3 on their team.
It's true.
So
It's true.
you have to look at their
No
team
one
and
would
say
say no to that, to be honest.
yeah, that's a good window. But can Bale stay fit? Can Mourinho keep that team ticking along attacking wise? I don't know. So I'm going to go with Liverpool. I think Liverpool solidified their team, and I think they're going to win the title again.
It's a big statement.
Yeah, for me, I mean, based on current, I think the Premier League leaders right now too is Everton. They sort of similar to what Hammer said, like they addressed their issues. So Everton's addressed their issues where they needed a creator in the mid, which they got in Rodriguez, and then also there are 2 signings, more the holding players of what was it, Allen and Decore. I think they've really made
Great
that team
signings, actually. Good shot. I think only because they didn't do their business on
late.
deadline day. Like they did it really early. But yeah, very good shout, to be honest.
Yeah. And then
they've settled in as well.
Yeah, exactly. And they're, I guess, the only area, and I think they actually, I don't know if they ended up signing a backup goalie, is their goalie. Pickford seems to be like very error prone. So that may cost them long term if they are challenging for that top 4 as the season progresses. But I feel like other than that, they're sort of well set up to challenge at least top 6 minimum. But I'm expecting them to do a lot better than that. And this weekend will be, I guess, their biggest test.
Massive.
Yeah.
It's going to be insane. Merseyside derby. You reckon? So we've got Spurs fixtures here as well as Villa, who we spoke about earlier. But Spurs have a decent run as well. You reckon that they could be real sort of challenges for the title? Had a good transfer window, got Mourinho, got that winning ethic, got Gareth Bale, who has a sort of winning mentality as well, and a really good core, players in every position. backup in every position as well. Harry Redknapp said this as well at some point during the read that he if anyone's going to push City and Liverpool to the line, it's going to be Spurs.
Yeah. So this is the hype right now, right? So Spurs are the hype, Villa's the hype. Spurs had two big games against Southampton and United. So they scored 6 goals against Southampton, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
And 6 against United, or 5 against Southampton and 6 against United, and then they tied against Newcastle and lost to Everton.
Yeah.
The way I look at Spurs is when they click and they go off, they can score plenty of goals. But the moment they start conceding, Mourinho goes back, starts defending, limits Son, Kane, and Bale most probably once he comes in. And like we said last year, there were times when Kane was playing like a CDM, where he was pretty much at the back of the midfield. You didn't know if he was going to score a goal or not.
Yeah, I think Kazim coined that phrase.
Yeah, I'd be wary about Spurs. I don't know if they can challenge for the title. I think they will take top 4, but we'll have to wait and see on how the other teams do. I can see the Villa fixtures here too. They have a decent set of fixtures. I know Leicester's showing up as a 4, but I think they can compete with Leicester. I think they can take them on. So I think they have a decent set of fixtures. Again, same with Villa. Take some caution. Just because of one game, they're not going to go scoring 7 goals every game.
Yeah. No, fair enough.
Yeah, for me, Spurs, I mean, I don't know if they're going to challenge for the title per se. I still think Liverpool are going to be the favorites, but from an FPL only perspective, I think they have a lot of great assets, and the way Kane is playing right now, the way Bale's soon going to come into the mix too, they seem to be very I want to potentially do a double up on Spurs. It's just I don't know how I can fit it at that price range.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sort of holding on my transfers this week. Hopefully I don't have any injuries.
Yeah, similar. I just want to see what everything's looking like now after international break as
well.
How do Chelsea look as well with Pulisic and Ziyech, and who's going to come in and how, and then sort of make a decision, and then even take a hit and do 3 at a go.
Exactly. Yeah. So I definitely think they're going to have good attacking returns when they play those teams that play how they want. I actually think West Ham will be a tough fixture for them. Just given their last 2 fixtures, they've set up, I don't know, well defensively, it seems like it.
Yeah.
Once they get through that, I think they're, Burnley, Brighton, West Brom, that's just drooling goals, I feel. So I'm hoping Bale gets a little run out against West Ham, and then
hits the ground running. Okay, brilliant. I think we can look at differentials for this week as well. We've gone a bit. Actually, we've talked about all of these except Hammer's boy Mope. But for me, Brewster, that Fulham fixture was what tipped it over the edge for me, and I think he should start, hopefully, because he had the week to sort of settle in. He's had the international break to get his feet under the table, kind of, and I think he's going to hit the ground running this week. And I feel like you're hoping the same as well, Kazim.
Yeah. I'm definitely hoping for that to happen. I mean, once again, it was like a low risk move in the sense that it's 4.5. Even if he sits on my bench, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But just given how my rest of my team's doing, I sort of need him now. So if he can, perform, at least get, at least start for the team, and then I'm happy with 2 points for now. And then as he sort of builds, I think he'll definitely be a good, signing for them. But I mean, for this week, I guess Brewster they play Fulham, so that's sort of.
Everton have got Liverpool. No, sorry, I was still thinking Barkley plays at Everton. Wow, that's a shambles. Villa play Leicester this week.
Yeah.
What do you reckon for Barkley? He's going to do the business?
This is just once again like a punt. I do think he's.
I guess that's what this is about as well, right? Having a punt and seeing what sticks.
But the thing about him is he's not really having, Hammer sort of mentioned it before, he's getting a bit of more freedom, maybe playing in that more McGinn role now. So he's getting a lot more chances up top. So I think, and when he is given that freedom, just when during his Chelsea days, he did perform or did get the assist, isn't afraid of taking a shot. Like in that Villa game, in the game against Liverpool, he should have had like
a few more,
hat-trick,
man. He should have.
right? So yeah, he's wasteful, but he takes the chance. He takes shots, so he does give himself a chance to get those holes. He just needs to be more clinical, and hopefully he can sort of perform on that stage. And Leicester sort of looked shaky last game against West Ham, so I think there's goals for him coming up. And I've heard rumors he's going to be on penalties, so another benefit.
Hammer, your boy Mope scored last week, didn't he?
He scored last week. I think he scored the week before against United.
Nice.
I think he'll keep his run going. Brighton is playing well, so yeah, he'll keep.
Yeah, and he's still fairly low owned. Like I think barely.
Yeah, he's actually genuinely a great differential in that sense. Who quickly? I think we're running out of time, but captaincy picks for this week. I've been hurt by De Bruyne too many times. It looks like he might be injured or carrying some sort of something. So I'm just gonna probably stick with Salah versus Everton. Kind of fixture he likes, and kind of fixture where he can really bring home the points. I think City
Just make it plain and simple. Just make it plain and simple. Salah every single week. Nobody else.
Save. Now I'm going to say DCL every week, man. Honestly, he's the guy. Actually, yeah. Kazim, what are you thinking? It's hard to look past.
Yeah, like if I had Salah, I don't know how I don't have him, but once again, if I had him, he would be my captain. But my plan is hopefully to bring him in next week.
Nice.
But I'm hoping Mane has that, that little extra bit of rest he got. So maybe he'll give me one more good week. So I'll be captaining Mane. And then next week, I guess I'll bring in Salah.
So do we all think Liverpool will beat Everton?
I really don't want it to happen, but you know how FPL really divides, like really messes with your footballing feelings. So I'd go for 3-3, Hammers and Salah hat tricks, and then I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean they both have shaky defense right now, so goalies are both pretty weak. So maybe there'll be goals, mistakes, hopefully.
Yeah, no, it should be good. Listen, we didn't get to this, but I'm keeping the faith with Wolves strong and my triple up, and I still believe that they have the fixtures. We discussed it last week, but Jimenez to bang this week as well. I don't have the faith to captain him. Not crazy, but he's gonna score, I reckon. He's due a goal, man. So fingers crossed for that as well.
I think that's key for Jimenez. He didn't score in 2 weeks, so this is his week.
Yeah, he's due. I mean, it's chasing the win, but what are you gonna do, man? But yeah, it's been good. We've got a bit more time before the deadline, so it's good to get this out early. I guess it's good to get your thoughts as well.
And I guess one thing we sort of hinted on is I got banned last week with the whole COVID on Mane. I'd already done my transfer, so for those of you out there who are listening, I think we hit 50 viewers on our last video. So
shout out, thank you. Really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching.
Of anyone who first of all gets this far, great.
Top tips, so if they lasted this long,
if you haven't done your transfers yet, just be mindful that this news can come out fairly late. So just wait. And maybe if you can't wait till the morning of, if you're in a different time zone like us, then at least wait till late Friday night to do your transfers.
100%. I mean,
if you can. But
we're chasing the price rises, but it becomes less and less relevant the more you go on. Unless you're chasing exclusively value on your team, then it's something else. But if you're not, then great shout is sort of hang on, sort of make your transfers as late as possible, especially with players playing international games during the week as well. Just sort of watch out. But anyways, always a pleasure, lads. Look after yourselves. Good luck.
Take care, guys.